Starting off, we'll head over to the Setup tab. Here you can click on File, Site Name, then head over to Open Tab and Setup. If you've already have a tab open, you can also right click on it to Open Tab and select the Setup tab. From there, we're going to head over to Server, or Servers at least, and then Integration Devices. We'll be creating a new integration device. You can do so by right clicking and selecting New. From there, find the name of the integration. Selecting that, select Next. Give the integration a name, the IP address of the unit itself that it is running on, or at least the software is running on, and the port number that all the information is being sent on. You'll have something similar to this. Once that's done, the Object Configuration tab will automatically configure, and you'll have the stations showing up. You'll also be able to filter this from all objects, from station to stations, and to the integration itself. You'll be able to assign cameras to any of those objects. You'll also be able to configure the overlays, such as the default overlays are shown here. You can set them according to however you want. You'll also be able to manually configure the overlay for each camera that is on an object by going onto the object itself, where the camera has been added, and configure it here by unchecking Use Default and changing it as you wish. You can add up to 4 cameras to each source, or at least each object. Next, we'll be going over to Object Properties. Here you'll be able to see all the details about the station objects. You can also go over onto the device itself and see if it's connected, and it will show its state. You'll also be able to go and check the communication channel if it's up and running. Next, we'll go to device events. Here it will show all device events that are coming through during the live period. You can also filter this via call end, and communication state. Next, we'll have object groups. Here you'll be able to create a new group. We'll just call this group 1, and you'll be able to group either the station object type or the integration device itself. We'll keep it to the station for now, as this actually has multiple objects. You'll be able to group up the objects according to how you would want. So for group 1, we'll just add 2 different objects into this, and you'll actually be able to group each object up as you need. You'll also be able to edit the group's name and delete it if needed. Next, we'll go to the General tab. Here, select General, and you'll be able to configure. This is where we'll be actually configuring the database for the integration itself. Selecting Configure Integration Databases, we'll be able to select New, find the device or integration name itself, select that, and then give it a name. Once you've done so, it'll create one such as this example. You'll be able to close this. Once you've completed that, you'll be able to click on this icon, and it will bring up all the device, or at least the integration databases available to select. Select the one you've just created and click OK. This will start to save all device events that come through into this database. Next, we'll be going over the events for the integration itself. To do so, go over to the Setup tab. Click on Events. You can then New at the bottom. You'll be able to give the event a name, a description, the schedule that you want to use, and the priority. Next, you'll go over to Triggers. This is where you'll select how the integration triggers how the event triggers itself. Here we'll click on Standard Triggers. This will be the default. You would want to select the device or integration device name that you've used. Next, you'll want to select the trigger using. Note that you can only utilize station objects in order to trigger. So this will include any station, the station groups that you've created, and any specific station that you want to use. Clicking on, we'll just utilize any station for this point. Here, next you'll see that we have start action when and any of the following device events occurs. These will generate these certain rules. If you select New and click New again to add a device event rule, this is how the device event trigger will look. If we change this to any of the properties meet the following criteria, and we select new, this is how the new object property trigger will look, and these are the options you can use. You can then go over and utilize perform action while any of the properties meet the following criteria, and this is how it will look. You'll also be able to change this to all, and this is how the object property trigger will look. Once you select the triggers you want to use, we'll head over to actions. Here you can add a new action for the triggers. You'll be able to record camera, record triggered cameras, control database, send emails, and play audio clips. Note that the device cannot be controlled. There will be no options to do anything from these actions. Next, you can head over to resources and configure those according to how you would need them to look. Next, we'll go over the overlays. To do so, you'll want to bring up the camera tab. You can do so by right-clicking on any of the open tabs, select open tab, and say cameras. Here you'll be able to select the camera that you have allocated to the object in the integration itself. You'll be able to bring that up, and it will show the camera that is already available. You'll be able to bring up the overlay by right-clicking, going to overlays, going over the object that you utilized from the integration, and clicking on the overlay option. Here it will bring up the overlay. Please note that this will only show once an event has been triggered on the object itself and the overlay was active. From here you'll be able to activate and deactivate it, and it will show up. Note the overlay will always show and display when a call has been active. You'll also be able to change the overlay or enable the overlay by clicking on the arrow on the left hand side here, selecting overlays, entrance or whichever the object type that you used was, and just selecting station here as it has been selected already.